Now let's move on to talk about how we evaluate opportunities and how we assess which opportunities are more promising. So a very simple framework that I tend to use for opportunity assessment is what I call the real win worth framework. This is what is shown here. Is it real? Can we win? Is it worth it? So the first aspect of this is product market fit. Is it real? Is the problem real? Is the customer problem real? And is it real enough for a large enough set of customers? The second question you have to ask is the product company fit, which is, can we win? What do we bring to the party? What makes us different? What makes us unique? What gives us competitive advantage? And the third is the product business fit, which is, how do we make money? Is it worth it? Do the economics work? So it's a very simple three-way framework for asking yourself how good a particular opportunity is. Is it real? Can we win? Is it worth it? A more sort of sophisticated and granular way of looking at an opportunity is to look at different filters. And these filters can be the customer filter, which is, do I have a clearly identified customer? Do I know what the problem is? Is it a problem that is experienced frequently? For example, I was working with a startup company, and they created a fast food restaurant with Indian cuisine. The idea being it'd be Chipotle for Indian, fast casual. The customers loved their food. The quality was excellent. The only problem, Indian food is not a staple. It's not something people do every day. So it was the frequency of the problem that they ran into. That if I'm going to eat at a restaurant once a year or once in 6 months, because that's how frequently I eat Indian food, the business is not viable. And in fact, they had to shut down the business because they found that it's not something people will do day in and day out. This is what I call building a toothbrush. Have you built a product or service that customers use day in and day out? That is why Facebook is so valuable. That is why Google is so valuable, because they built something that solves a problem that you have every single day, right? How big is the customer base? Can I access the customer base? So those are the customer filter. Then you have the economic filter. Do I have a clear monetization approach? What is it going to cost me to build this product? What are my variable costs low? Does the product scale with volume? What are my margins? The competition filter. What are the existing substitutes? Can I defend my position? Do I have some IP protection? Do I have any resources that competitors don't have? The channel filter. Do I know how I'm going to get to market? Do I have a good access to the customers? Are there opportunities to white label my product and make it part of somebody else's offering? What is my cost of acquiring customers? And can I actually sell this thing online? By the way, if any of you watch Shark Tank, you'll notice that a lot of the discussion is around the customer channels and go to market, as well as the cost of customer acquisition. Then there's a timing filter. Is it the right time? Is it aligned with the trends? Is the infrastructure in place? For example, if I'm doing electric cars, it requires the infrastructure to be put into place. So I might be ahead of my time from a category standpoint. So that's how you can score an opportunity based on these 5 set of criteria. The other way to look at an opportunity landscape is to look at these 2 dimensions, which is how important are these variables or attributes to customers, and how satisfied are customers with the current approach. So on the diagonal is the expected value, but what you see very commonly is that there are some criteria that are very important for customers, but they are dissatisfied with the current approaches. So these might be the areas of opportunity there. But there might also be opportunities in the landscape in the other direction, which is that there may be some attribute that customers don't value as much, but they are overserved. So I can actually build a product that is simpler, easier, cheaper, more efficient, and that does away with bells and whistles that customers don't value. A great example of this is what Southwest Airlines and JetBlue did when they created the low-cost carrier market in airlines. So they basically told themselves, airlines are providing food, and they're providing, in the case of Southwest, they said assigned seating, and they're providing, all these other sort of service frills. So they said, let's eliminate these frills and build a lower cost offering. So they were able to create a lower cost offering because the food that was being provided to customers was actually quite lousy. So that's how you can look at the opportunity landscape. And in summary, to find high value opportunities, you can look for value gaps, and the value gaps occur in 2 areas, dimensions that are highly important to customer where they are unsatisfied today. On the other hand, dimensions that they report they're not very important, but they're overserved, right? So there may be an opportunity to create a simpler, lighter, easier, cheaper product that may be disruption from below. And finally, there may be dimensions for which there is currently no good solution at all, right? So all this opportunity assessment then needs to be summarized in the form of a opportunity brief. So you write up the opportunity brief as a summary of what you have built. And here, these are some of the elements of the opportunity brief. By the way, this opportunity brief should not be more than a couple of pages long. You talk about the essence of the opportunity, what problem are we addressing and why. A back of the napkin market sizing, very preliminary, crude analysis of how many customers are out there, what is the average revenue per customer that I think I can get, and how much does this add up to? Who is the target customer? What is the evidence do I have that they have this problem? What is the preliminary sketch of how I'm going to make money? What are the risks and unknowns that I have? And what are the next steps? So that's a opportunity brief. So that would be the first thing that you do in your startup when you get in front of investors, that you write yourself this opportunity brief. And this is what you communicate to your investors and to your team. There are a couple of other ways of describing an opportunity that I found very helpful in my work. One is the idea of the solution resume. If you think about the fact that we just talked about jobs to be done, that a product does a job for a customer, literally let's look at this as that I as a product am applying for a job, and the customer has a job that they need to get done that is an open position. It's an unfilled job. So if you're applying for a job, you need a resume, right? So the solution resume is a description of the way that your product solves a problem or applies for a job for the customer. So here in the solution resume, we'll write things like, here is the idea that we have. The first customers who are going to buy our product are these. The job that they need to get done are this. This is the way they currently do, their current workaround or the current way they get these jobs done. Relative to what they do today, here's what we're offering them. But in order to buy and use our product, this is what we're going to ask for. We're going to ask for some money. We're going to ask for their trust. We're going to ask them to take risk. Here's how we're going to make money. Here's how we will plan to go to market. What is the channel route to market? This is who we'll need to partner with, and this is why we will win. So this is a very simple, if you really think about this solution resume is your startup in one slide. This is the summary of everything that you need to have in your business plan. It's a simple way. It's another way of actually, you've looked at other tools like the business model canvas and so on. I find the solution resume is a very simple way of putting down on one sheet of paper, what is it that your startup is about. By the way, the other thing is, what are the key assumptions that we are making and what is our plan to learn? Another way of describing your opportunity is what we call the vision press release or the future press release. So in creating the vision press release, what you do is you write up a press release in the future for the product that you're going to build. By the way, you don't have the product yet, and the press release is not actually going out to the press, but it's your way of saying, what is the story I'm going to tell about my product? What is the news here? What's exciting about it, right? What is the headline? What is this, the subheading? And if you notice that the format is somewhat similar to the solution resume, but what this press release forces you to do is really force you to think about what is it that my product is going to be news. What is the news in my product, right? By the way, this is a technique that, as you can see, this comes from Amazon. It's a best practice from Amazon that they do a lot of this. They write up a future press release or a vision press release for a product that they're building in the future. So that was our discussion about what a product opportunity is and how do you define opportunities, how do you assess opportunities and structure that in the form of a opportunity brief. We talked about three approaches. One is the opportunity brief, the second is the solution resume, and the third is the vision press release. Now